Okay, so Jamar, I know you, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and let them know a little bit about you.
All right. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I started messing with that stream. Let me exit out.
Oh, no worries.
I seen something that had something going crazy. But how y'all doing, man? My name is Jamar Graham. I'm originally from Florence, South Carolina. Me and Raven went to school together from Wilson University or Wilson High, however you like to call
Wilson High.
it. I joined the Air Force fresh out of high school about a year afterwards. Been in for 13 years, married, one daughter. She's 5 months, and that's a little. I mean, that's the basics, right?
The basics. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into also tell us a little bit about your business, because I know you have a business.
Yeah.
So tell us about your business and kind of like some of the services you offer.
All right. Yeah. So the business we have is a Hustle Smarter. Hustle Smarter, that's the name of the company. Ultimately, it's a culmination of financial consultations and financial literacy. So the business was started on helping people budget, get out of debt, and then other levels of finance also, but I always like to start with the basics. Started there. We also brought a podcast along with it, the Hustle Lounge podcast. And that was the way to kind of get the word out, because ultimately, if you truly don't know me, and if you remember me from 12 years ago, I'm definitely not the same person. So ultimately, that was our way of letting people know, like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just trying to take advantage. The pandemic where people, went and saved $100 and thought they knew money. So that's all. so ultimately, that's really ultimately how we all started out, just trying to figure that part out. And then it kind of was a mixture of podcasts. The podcast took off. I didn't expect it to take off that fast. And we still do consultations. Though we've done a few personal consultations, and we helped everyone from getting out of debt to we had other people who had no debt and was just trying to build wealth.
That's what's up.
And we also work with businesses. Business marketing is something I do. I have an MBA in marketing and my bachelor's in finance. So,
all right, degreed up over there. Okay,
we try.
And I literally turn into the Hustle Lounge all the time, and it's 3 Black males.
Appreciate that, yo.
And they have not totally, but they have different perspectives, right? Of course, they have some similarities, but they have some perspectives, same perspectives or different perspectives. So it's good to see like a different range of everybody and everybody's personality. I crack up at their podcast. It's so funny. So y'all definitely need to tune in. Before we get done, I'll definitely let Jamar drop it in the comments. So now we're about to get into probably what y'all came here for. So the first question we have is, what is financial freedom to you, and why is it important? So the first question we have,
financial freedom, we all take it as let me start back. A lot of times looking at social media and everything we see on TV gives us a false reality of financial freedom. Financial freedom is not always being a millionaire or being able to buy the latest clothes, the latest shoes, the biggest things. I was actually going to make a post, but I'm trying to build a team. If you're listening and you're real good at social media, I can give you all the ideas. I just be moving and driving and always moving where I don't have time to push it out. But financial freedom to me is just as simple as putting my bills on auto pay. That is a luxury that people really overlook. Like, I like having the bills on auto pay. Ultimately, they have to get paid. So if they're on auto pay, they're there. That's just as simple as financial freedom. When we go deeper, depending on the level of what people like, financial freedom is exactly what we kind of talked about before you started, being able to walk away from a job that's not treating you right. Being able to not deal with a toxic person, whether it be a family member or a friend. Ultimately, your finances and having financial freedom will liberate you from things that you normally would have to deal with because your money isn't right.
That part, that is the biggest. That's the biggest part. For one, let run that back. He said will alleviate you. I'm gonna let him say it because he said it better than I can say it. I don't even know if you remember how you said
it. Financial freedom will liberate you from situations and people and things that you don't have to necessarily deal with. And ultimately, I was able to see that. Life taught me that, I got a degree in finance, but I started seeing people act a certain way, deal with people who didn't mean them any well, because ultimately they were either helping them with their finances, like far as being their supervisor. There was a toxic relationship where the other partner had money and that person was staying in that relationship due to a lack of finances. And I think ultimately we don't like to talk about it a lot, but a lot of people are only doing certain things because their money isn't right.
Right. That's where
But
the freedom part come in.
I always hark on that. You can have a $40,000 annual salary and be financially free.
Yes. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then so another thing that you said, I lost my follow-up question. I'm gonna come back to it though. So tell us a little bit about your story.
My story, man. So ultimately, it kind of runs along with the name Hustle Smarter, right? My father, hard worker, manual labor. We did everything. There ain't too much I haven't done far as when it comes to working. So when we talk about my story, just the background of it, I've always been a hustler. I've always worked. And I'm here to let everyone know that just because a Black man used the word hustle, that doesn't mean we sell drugs. And ultimately, your facial expression is killing. You get me turned up. And I think that's so important. Like I stated on a previous podcast, drug dealers sell drugs. Hustlers can sell anything. Hustlers know how to figure it out. And shout out to everybody. Even it's Women's History Month still. Shout out to all the women hustlers out there, especially you out there getting to it.
Thank you.
And like I said, I brought the book. I thought it was 2 years ago, maybe. I just seen it pop across the timeline. That tell me, because I know what it takes to get to that level of even getting the courage to write a book. Number one, I've been working on a book for 6 years, but
it's gonna be fire though when you drop it.
Yeah. But no, so ultimately joined the Air Force. Nothing was going on in Florence. I mean, not to an extent of where I wanted to be. My main goal or my dream as a kid was to, after I realized the NBA wasn't going to work, was to go to Newport Steel in Darlington where my father worked and just kind of figure it out from there. Best thing happened is the Air Force. I did join and ultimately that just helped me grow. The elevation, seeing people of different walks of life, meeting different people. And ultimately, if you leave your box and your comfort zone, so you figure Florence, South Carolina, I love Florence, South Carolina to death. Once I got away from it, I met people from, New York City. I met people from California, totally different walks of life, totally different things that they exposed to you. So when that exposure happens, your brain works, right? And ultimately, that's kind of where we were at. I went from Carolina to Japan, Japan to New Mexico to Ohio, and Ohio to here. And
awesome.
I know the follow-up question, and I seen where you said, what made you change about the money? That's what you're coming at next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Yeah. I remember that one because that's the one I get a little deep on. But ultimately, if you play the tapes back and just kind of, I always kind of reflect. First thing first, I am a product of I knew better, but I didn't do better.
That's why you the first guest.
I'm definitely I'm a walking person of that. My father taught me finance as well. Now, granted, and we just put the episode hasn't come out yet, but we talked about it. Oh man, I won't get too deep, but our parents raised us on what they went through and their struggles.
Right.
Ultimately, my mindset on parenting is we have to raise our children for their struggles. Ooh. So my dad raised me on manual labor, working hard, play yourself first, always give yourself some money, 401k, retire at 65, right? He didn't prepare me for the stock investments, making all the money you can make off the phone. He didn't, like, me and him talk all the time. He met some kid and the kid told him he wanted to be a famous YouTuber when he grow up. And my father was like, this kid, YouTube. I'm like, yeah, Dad, that's the wave. Like, I wish you would have told me YouTube 20 years ago, right? So ultimately, that was always my views. So when I got in the Air Force, I was doing what my dad told me to do. Put up 10% of your check, at least pay yourself first, pay your tithes, do your handle your business. Met some guys there and was like, I'm gonna get a 20-year retirement regardless. I'm gonna have some fun. So I took that money out the retirement. And you figure 10%. Back then we was making $700 every other week. So $70, $140 a month. I was just putting that into the clubs and everything. But the ultimate turning point with money was, like I said, I knew better. And I got to a point when it was at my 6-year mark. I had to re-enlist. I had to stay in. My goal was to do 6 years and come back home and start an HVAC company. Well, we got to year 5 and that's where you normally have to make that decision. And I was having fun. So I probably would have stayed whether my money was right or not. So let's put that out there. But I didn't have a choice. And I did not like the feeling of not having a choice because my hands were tied. I wasn't good enough at air conditioning yet because majority of my career before that point, I worked in Japan where it was cold and steam. We didn't have air conditioning, so I didn't really know air conditioning well enough to run a business. So got there, and then kind of still stayed in that realm of things. And the beauty of it is, met my girlfriend and wife now, 2012. Man, that was a great time. I was 22, 23. I was doing HVAC on the side because I said, hey, I'm gonna get out at year 10 or year 9. I'm gonna learn this stuff on the side first. And I did the math, and look, I was making 100K plus by myself without her income, from like 23 to 26, 27.
Wow.
Now, granted, I was working extremely hard. I was giving about 80 hours a week. I was leaving my Air Force job, changing clothes before I left the office, hopping in the car, going to the work van. I worked to 10 p.m. until it got too dark. And I did that every day, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. In the realm of all that working, I didn't hold on to any of that money. Had a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, had a lot of fun. And it was just a culmination of, I think this is a trend in just the world. And I like to not equate it to tax time, but it's the same. People work their entire year, they get that big tax check and they go blow it. Yeah. And it was the same. I was working 80 hours a week. When we had one weekend without no work, all of that hard labor and all that money that I was putting in the shoebox or putting on my account, I'm going to Dallas for a weekend to blow it. And I had fun. So I won't regret any of that because I needed that exposure to show me that that was fun, but I didn't really hold on to nothing. And me and my wife started talking about children, having kids. And I'm like, all right, well, I need to be able to be more responsible. Because you figure 100,000 for 6 years straight, I should at least had 300-400 when we moved to Ohio, but I didn't. I was actually in the negatives because of the lifestyle that I was living. Partying, whatever the wife wanted, she got, and she was making good money too. She was making 50, 60 a year too. So we're that young making that much money. And then we went to Ohio. She didn't have a job anymore. I didn't have the HVAC on the side anymore. Now I'm averaging 55 to 60 a year, just me with a family. And now it's like, whoa, what's going on? And what happens then, and I always, attribute this to life too. We arguing now because the money's out, money funny, right? The money funny, it ain't. I used to, man, you can ask I used to have cookouts in New Mexico, steaks, we ain't hot dogs, steaks, I'm buying all the drinks, I'm buying everything, just show up. And we did this Friday to Sunday consecutively. Dang. And that was the slap in the face when we got to Ohio. The money slowed down. And we figured it out because ultimately, when you're having so much money coming in at a young age, you get blinded because it was nothing that I couldn't do. And a lot of the second job I was paid cash on. So I wasn't even touching the debit card. I was just straight cash. Oh, yeah. I was making more on my second job than my first one. And ultimately, so we got there and we did the math. I finally sat down. I was like, what is wrong? What's going on? And I think I had like 10 grand left in my savings. I did buy that house in Ohio. That was the one that got me out, but I was going to do that regardless. That was my second house. And I said, well, at least I'm going to do is buy a house because the way I was spending, I knew it was going to run out. So I used the last 10 for like closing costs. I think I put in like 8,000. But yeah, ultimately I was going to the store and I had to keep transferring from my savings to my check-ins. And then eventually the savings got real ugly. But long story short, because it's still too long already, my wife decided to join the Air Force. And at that moment, I said, you know what? She's going to join the Air Force to help our family get to another level. Ultimately, the best thing I'm going to do, because now we're going to get more money than we probably ever had in this steady. That's the difference. Because, I know her check coming on the 1st and 15th, mine's coming on the 1st and 15th. We need to make sure, because opportunity only comes around once. If it comes around twice, you're lucky or you blessed. However you look at it.
Come on, Jamar.
So I knew that opportunity was missed already when I was 100,000 there. 100,000 income earner, not 100,000 in stocks and investments, 100,000 income. That is hard to do, especially at a 22-year-old male. I knew that window was very short because I was starting a new job in recruiting. So there was no way I was going to go climb through attics and do HVAC again because of the time constraints. But I knew that if I could take control and take control of my money and her money or our money together, we can manage it and budget it and still do the same things we used to do. And so when she went to basic training, her basic training was 8.5 weeks. On the base, they was giving up the Dave Ramsey course and it was 8.5 weeks. So she was in training, I went to training, and that started.
Okay. Keyword.
That
There's
started the
one thing
movement.
I wanted to point out that you said. One with two things. You were very forward looking, right? You was like, I knew I had a small window. So planning, making sure you plan right. Good. You don't get wealthy by happen chance unless your last name is Rockefeller. Okay. And then you just wealthy when you come out the womb, right?
Right.
But if your name is not Rockefeller, you have to actually set some kind of plan. You have to do something to make sure that you end up in the space that you want to be. So that's one thing I heard you say, was that you were very forward thinking and that you was planning. And then the other thing that I want to point out, because I feel like this is why, people like me and you get so much bad rap, is because they always think, well, if I budget, I can't get Starbucks. And I love Starbucks, right? The one thing that you said is, if we budget and we manage it right, we can still live the same way, right? So he was saying we could take a $50,000 salary and live the same way we were living when we had six figures, but we had to budget and manage it first, right? So budgeting doesn't mean you have to sacrifice all the time. Maybe for a hot second, right?
Yeah.
But you can hop back in and you can live the same life. So that's two things I wanted to point out. And
the
then
budget saved my life. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the
oh
budget
no, that was
saved my
good.
life.
Say it again.
The budget saved my life. Like,
listen.
Now granted, like you said earlier, I had to turn it down a lot. And when I ultimately realized debt, how it really truly works, we taught what we taught in our neighborhood. Get a good credit score so you can get whatever you want. They never tell you that you should have enough money to pay off that stuff that you buy.
Right.
So when you do the math on that, I was 100,000 earner and I had 60, 70, 50 plus in debt, right? I always had enough money to pay for everything in cash. I was just letting it trickle on because I was getting all this money. I'm gonna pay the minimum. I didn't understand that part of it. So I do have a high credit score now, but that wasn't on purpose. It was just not knowing. And ultimately, when that well was cut off and my water was cut off and all that money didn't come in, and I got these bills that I'm used to just throwing money at, now I'm like, how am I gonna pay this? And that's where the budget came in, because now you got to really lock in. All right, what's important? What's not important? What's gonna get the minimums? What's gonna get the big? How do I get out of this situation? And it was the worst part of my life, because on the surface, life was great. New truck, new car, nice house. I still was doing what I wanted because my credit was so good. So my credit limits, some of them are just out of this world. And just turning it down, and the pride factor of, I don't know what I'm doing with this money. Yeah, I know how to get money. I've never struggled getting money. That is my specialty. I know how to get some money, which is why I never panicked when I was low on money, because I know I can go cut your grass, I can pour your concrete, I can do your driveway, flower bed, HVAC is down with my bag. Yeah, so I never was afraid of not having money because I always knew how to get it, but I didn't realize how important it was to keep it, because that's really where you win at.
Yes. Not just getting the bag, but keeping the bag. Yes. So we have a question from one of the comments, and one of the questions are, what financial tips do you have for small business owners?
Oh man. Man, that's a tough one, because I'm dealing with that now. So Hustle Smart is definitely, we don't have as many issues as a regular small business because we don't have no overhead. It's really whatever we put in, we get out. But I also partnered up with a trucking company. And as far as a small business finances go, continue to scale, continue to keep overhead low, and keep track of what's going on. Every dollar counts. Every dollar, I promise you, every dollar counts. Especially, I can go into trucking because that's the first thing on my mind. Fuel is at an all-time high.
Oh yeah.
I can't afford to lose $100 because somebody drove 50 miles out of the radius. Like, that's how, and it comes off a lot of times when we're not used to being in management positions. We come off, oh, you can't be nice. Nah, that's your bread. Like, you gotta really be locked in. Like, when the fuel bill come in with the fuel cards, I'm scanning that joint tooth and comb. Like, why'd you get fuel here? What are you doing here? And ultimately, when you do that, now you have to get smart with it. And just it's different. It's going to vary on your business. If you are, can you ask them what business they're in? I can't, if I pull up the comment.
Latia, what business are you? What's your business? I'm going to reply to her. Okay. And hopefully she's still live too, so she should still hear you.
Yeah, and that's really what it boils down to. If you're in like clothing, How do you keep your overhead low? That's really the big one. Keep your overhead low. And just learn and continue to scale the business. See what the winners are doing.
That's good.
You're not reinventing the wheel anymore. This is not 1933 where everything is brand new. Everything you probably want to do, or somebody's doing it. And I think one of the biggest attributes I've learned over time is I can learn from people that I necessarily don't care for.
Right.
Did
y'all hear that? She says she sells candles and she hosts candle making classes.
All right. So with that, same thing, products. You're selling a product, because in business, you're either selling a good or providing a service. So you're selling a product. Continue to look for other companies that can provide you with the products that you're using to make your candles at a lower rate. Work those deals, get those relationships in. There's somebody that you know that has a candle company. I'm telling you right now, your supplier that's supplying you with the products is not loyal to you. You definitely want to build the relationship to maybe, because we don't want discounts. We want the product. Sometimes getting a discount on something doesn't mean you're going to get the good quality of the product. So be wary of that also. Don't go to a supplier because they have a cheaper price, because you might pay for that cheaper price and not the way that you want to pay. The candle may go out as soon as it starts. Now you're losing customers. But set up that relationship. If you know that you're going to make 50 candles a month, and you know 50 candles cost you this with your current supplier, everybody's happy as far as your customer base and everybody. Work that deal with them. Hey, I'm paying $300 for 50. Let's do $250, but let's lock it in for a year, right? Let's lock it in for a year, because if you do that, 50 times 12 is $600. That's $600 saving a year. Now the average person, I don't know where they get these numbers from. Oh, that ain't no money. No, $600 savings in a year can go towards your marketing. It can go towards it can go so many other places to where you can continue to grow. Right. So that's what you got to look at. How can you scale the business when you're doing your courses? How was the turnout? Always evaluate what you're doing. Analyze what you're doing. Go back and look at it. I go back and look at everything I do. When we get off this live, I'm gonna look at this video to see my posture. I'm gonna look at, was I moving too much? I'm gonna check my lighting. I'm gonna do everything, because I want to be great at it, and there's always room to get better. So always scale the business. Look at what somebody else is doing. You're not gonna get the Bed Bath and Beyond, right? They're not gonna give out their secrets, but there's somebody who has won in the candle game, and you could definitely follow up with them.
Gems. Wow. Those are so many gems. Okay. So I'm gonna go down to this question. What beliefs do you have about wealthy people? What do you believe sets apart the rich from the poor?
Mental mindset. Everything is 99% of the game is mental, no matter what you do. They laugh about it in basketball. I'm not the best player, but you can't tell me that when I'm on the court, right? Because I step on that court, I'm the best ever. I don't care who you put in front of me, I'm gonna eat them. And it might get 30, but mentality is everything. And also we have to stop thinking that there is a certain visual on money. It's not. I got a partner right now. I don't know what he's worth, but he's got bread. He does not look like it.
It was the shoulder shrug for me.
He don't, and it'll throw you off, right? But I'm oblivious to someone's images and what they wear, but I can see the moves that he made, and I know he really having his way. Ultimately, that's the thing. It's just mindset. The poor thinks for that week, that weekend, that next month. The wealthy think for years ahead of time. Every move I make today is a strategic move to ensure that my daughter's free. My daughter doesn't have to deal with anything she doesn't want to deal with. That's all the moves that I make. Now, will I reap some of those benefits in between that time? Absolutely. And if I don't, I'm going to take them to enjoy some of my hard labor. But everything I do has a 5 to 10 year outlook on it. I don't do anything on, if anything is a short term, my short-term success is going to the casino. I don't do anything seriously in the short term. Everything is at least a 3 to 5 year plan for me. And that helps me out, because ultimately it makes your brain think different. All right, do I want to go somewhere for this summer, or do I want to do something 5 years from now? So when you think that way, that summer trip may cost me $5,000, right? But if I was thinking I want to do this in 5 years, I may put 2,500 of that into an investment, stocks, a business, etc. Now that summer trip is still going to happen, but the budget has got cut in half because I want to be able to do something 5 years from now. that $2,500 today can grow into $25,000 in 5 years at a minimum. And that's not even max effort. But I'm still gonna have fun that summer. And I think that's what separates the rich from the wealthy. And the poor from the wealthy, because rich is, I don't even know what that means anymore now that I've really grown up. Wealthy is different.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, when I see someone or when I talk to someone and they talk that game, I judge their wealth on how they move. If they don't have any time because they always at work, that's not wealthy. That's not wealthy, because wealth, your greatest currency is your time.
Yes, I had to learn that.
It's tough. Your greatest currency is your time, which is why I respect time more than I respect money. Money's a tool. Money's a tool to buy either time or memories or fun.
Yeah.
Our culture suffers from not having money, so they treat money as if it's the holy grail. It's nothing but money. It's meant to be spent.
That is, my sister lives by that. My sister's like, I can't take it with me, and I'm
you can't take it with you.
Can we save some though?
You can save a few, right? You can save a few. And I said that a couple of weeks ago in the cast. Like, they're like, what's the best thing to do with money? Spend it. Spend it. Have
you
some
hear
fun.
that, Harry? Spend it.
Spend the money.
You wish she already doing that.
The money gonna come back to you. That time's not. Now, granted, don't be crazy. I have been on the other side of it to where I spent it with no true plan. But once we on that same page with the budget. The budget allows me to do every and anything I want in life. I literally have a casino budget that is big that I use to go to the casino, and I have fun while I'm there, and it doesn't hurt anything if I win, lose, or draw.
Right.
I budgeted it in the budget. I'm playing with the house money. It's not nothing.
Come on, playing with the house money.
Yeah.
My sister says she loves it.
Yeah, for real. You got to. And even with everybody has their vices or things they like to do. I like to gamble, and I like, nice drinks and cigars every now and then. That's an expensive habit itself. It's in the budget. When I go spend that $200-$300 at the store, any 301 and up, I ain't touching it. Gotta wait the next check.
I love it. And I'm like that too, because I would catch a trip in a minute. Like, me and Delta are best friends. Okay. But it's always in the budget. I love it. All right. So what financial advice would you give to a younger you?
It's a tough question, right? Because ultimately, I would not change anything I went through before today. I needed to make all that money. I needed to be at the clubs in Dallas like I played for the Cowboys, and I didn't. I needed all those experiences to, one, enjoy the exposure, and two, learn my lessons. And the lessons I learned was the budget, because I can still do that now. I just got to budget it out to where I gave away so much money. But if I would tell my younger self anything, is to continue to just learn. Learn money. Money is bigger than a piece of paper printed out with presidents on it. It is a tool to allow you to do other things. And it's just a hard question, because I don't regret anything I've done with money. I don't regret the hard times that we went through, because I needed all that, because that helped me grow. And I'm still young. I think we when we were young, we thought 30 was old. 30 is not old.
Right. Nah, 20.
It's better 18, baby.
Right.
But a young self, I would definitely tell myself to, all right, I got it. Here's the one I got right here. I had to think about it. Put the effort into learning money and how it works, the same effort I put into anything else. Ooh. So when I got into the Air Force, I got discouraged because I was talking to the older Black gentlemen that were in, like, hey, what are you doing? What do you do when you retire? What should I put this money? And I don't know if it was on purpose. It may be the mentality that we suffer from slavery from 400 years ago, because I still believe that has a psychological effect on us. They wouldn't tell me. I'll just put some money up. Well, where do I put it up at? Oh, if you ain't using a TSP, putting that 10% in, you stupid. Well, now once you say you're stupid at the end, I'm not even listening to you anymore.
Yeah.
And I wish that the same way, like right now, if you had somebody like your brother come play me in one-on-one in basketball, I'm gonna go crazy to try to beat him. And I was the same way about sports, video games. I'm super competitive, but I wasn't super competitive when it came to learning money, or something that could, like I said, liberate me from modern day slavery. So That's what I would say. Use that same energy where I tried to learn how to shoot jumpers and worked hard in the gym. I used to get up at 5 a.m, work out with a guy to get in shape, go swim. And well, not really swim. I couldn't swim back then, but go play in the pool. And I was trying to do all this to play military basketball. That's not going to get me to the NBA, but it was something that I loved doing. If I would have took half of that energy and put it into learning money, I'll be 5 times better than I am today.
Awesome. I remember on one of your podcasts, one of your friends asked you, did you swim in some lake? And you was like, I just learned to swim.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's a gym in itself, though. That's a gym in itself. If you listening, man, you got to learn something new every day. Every day. I'm 31. I went through swimming lessons at the YMCA last summer. Ultimately, my biggest fear is my daughter jumping in the pool and I can't go get her. So I put the pride to the side. I'm 30 years old. I'm in a class with 11 and 12 years old at the YMCA all last summer. No pride, man. I'm learning. And they taught me how to save my life, but it wasn't good enough for me. So I literally got lessons tomorrow morning. I got a one-on-one lesson. I've been going for the last 8. I had foot surgery, so I couldn't do any cardio. And this lady, I got the one-on-one private lessons. It's actually cheaper than the YMCA, right? And I'm a fish. I like it too.
That's what's up.
But it's bigger. Like, learn every day. I'm 31. I'm in the pool. I'm struggling. I'm learning because one, my daughter's life, you know what we're going to do as a parent. I'm going to jump in the water and can't swim. Now we both dead.
Right. Or you going to throw the baby to your wife like, catch her.
Yeah. So ultimately that was the main, but I wanted to swim. And because of finances, and I know one of my visions is to have a pool at my house. Now, who the hell wants a pool they only put their feet in?
Come on, y'all. Those are gyms. They ain't got nothing to do with money, but those are gyms that you can apply to your everyday life.
It's worth more than money because it takes that same mindset of, like when we talked the other day about I know money, but I don't know nothing about taxes. Can I talk to you? You're a professional. A lot of people now, sometimes we have that half switch of let me figure it out myself or let me ask a professional. Right. But not necessarily having money, but being financially free, because having money could mean having $1,000 extra or $1 million to some people. Yes. Being financially free, if you would have said, hey, Jamar, that 30-minute phone call is going to cost $200, I'm going to pay that because you know something I don't know, and you're going to save me 3 days of YouTube University. So
that's just going to touch the surface anyway.
Because everything they're going to tell you at the end is call us for the consultation.
Right, and pay this invoice. Exactly. Someone in the comments said, budgeting is my biggest downfall. What is some advice you can give to them?
Be realistic. Be realistic is the first one. People get in a budget and the first 60 days, it depends on how your pay schedule is. I'm gonna say the first 3 months. If you never tracked how you spent, you're not gonna be close to what you thought you spent. I put down that we spent $100 eating out. That's not realistic. Like, not for a 15-day time frame. I used to do it bi-weekly. It's just not. It's not realistic. Be realistic. When you originally start to keep your momentum going, is to overshoot it. Put more than what you normally would spend. Put more, then come back and write down what you did and then adjust. But it does take about 45, 60 days to actually get on point and know where you're at. And don't be, and be honest with it. Like I told you, I have my vices. That's in my budget. It's not that I'm hiding it. I like to gamble, so I got a gambling budget. It's just my thing, right? I might eat out, so write it down. And when you go over, don't get discouraged. Just adjust it. Life is all about adjusting. I said, I'm gonna spend $200 on eating out. We had 1 month. I promise. Me and my lady had 1 month. We went like $400 eating out for the 2 weeks, and I'm like, hey, double it. Now we got. Yeah, let's sit down and talk about it. Do we enjoy eating out that much, or was we being lazy? Because we had a $300 grocery budget too. So if we got $300 worth of groceries, but we eating out for $200, but we really spent $400, we might need to put the groceries at $200 and keep the eating out at $300 so we can make it level out. Because it's no right or wrong way. It's what my buddy that's on the podcast with us, little Chris, when he first started, he didn't cook. He can cook, but he didn't cook. So he ate out all the time. His budget was majority eating out with like $50 in groceries for the necessities. That everybody's budget is different. Yes. Just be realistic with it. And don't be afraid to, some people need accountability partners, do that. But even when I first started, I was like, man, damn, I spent too much. I'm not gonna write that down. But just be honest with yourself. And now I pretty much do the budget in my head. I still write it down to this day. Because when we was down and out and it didn't look good outside, I was budgeting. And now that the days are sunny, majority of them, I'm still budgeting because I know that that's the basics that help me get to where I'm at. Ultimately, hopefully I have a billion. Yeah, I have $1 billion coming in. When I have $1 billion, I might get some help, but I'm still going to budget because I understand the benefits of it. And I made it a game also. I made it a game. If we spend 400 eating out, but we spend it 3 this month, well, can I make it 3 instead of 4? Can I buy less and do more with it? Because now when you start seeing that little $18.73, 100 and some changes being left over going into the next month, now you're like, it works. And have some fun with that. When you have 400 budgeted for eating out and you only spend 250, when you get that extra 150, if you're paying off debt, put 75 to that debt. But take that 75 and go have you a good time. Do whatever with it. Have some fun with it.
Listen, I love it. I love it. All right, so this is your last question. So y'all, if y'all have any more questions, drop them down because we're going into the last question that I have for him. So what can you kind of describe like your process? You kind of mentioned like when you ask some of the older folks like how to save or how to invest, what to do. How do you decide, okay, I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna invest in, and then like, oh, I'm gonna start a business. What's your process with building wealth?
Ooh, building wealth. Well, I've seen the question before that when you said, "Are you a saver or a spender?" So,
oh yeah,
I'm a habitual spender.
Really?
I like to have a good time. But I don't buy things; I buy experiences. Yeah, I don't too much buy things anymore. But I'll pay for all of us to go out to eat brunch just to have a good time. That's kind of where I'm at. And I also give a lot. I mean, when you wrote that one about ties the other day, that touched my soul because I love it, man. I love helping, just giving back because I know his money is coming back. But to get back on your question before I get in my feelings, what was the question again? Let me ask you one more time.
Just your process. Your process.
My process.
Deciding, what you're going to do. Save, invest, do a business, which is still investing. But like, what's your process?
So it just goes with my personality. Saving, I save a little bit, right? Even to this day, now that I'm in a better situation, I don't necessarily save a lot of money. I put a lot up. I don't have a huge savings account. Like I just don't. It's not for me. I invest a lot, but my investment techniques is different from anyone else or from everyone else. I believe in investing in businesses that's going to generate a cash flow. If you listen to the Hustle Lounge podcast, once we've done, you'll hear my buddy Chris is fully invested in the market. That's his thing, stock market. Now I do indulge in the market. For me, if you say, hey, here, Graham, here go 15,000, I'm taking 14,500 and trying to buy a truck. I'm trying to start a business. Because that's just what I enjoy doing. I love the hands-on portion of it. It works out for me. So for me, that's my main goal is I do like the stock market. The stock market is a great wheel for money. I'm just not a day trader. I tried to day trade and it didn't work out for me. So for me, I'm the guy who's going to just buy long-term stocks that I see 10 years from now. As far as money coming in, I want to invest in something that's going to continuously bring me a check. It's going to bring me headaches too, but it's going to bring that check. It's going to bring them headache. Oh, for sure. I got like 5 calls that I forgot they got to wait for a second, but I'll probably be up to 1 a.m. tonight, figuring out all that headaches and then getting right back up at 6. But I actually enjoy that hands-on portion of it. So I would just tell someone, do what works for you. It works for me. If I was to go outside right now to go fix something and get something running, I'm excited. When I sat at the computer and tried to day trade for a month, I hated it. I was like, why am I doing this? It's not even fun. So yeah, just that's my thing. Investing. I like to invest in income generating assets.
Yes.
That's my vision of investing. And I still invest in the stock market. It's just not heavy. Because it just hasn't. My man's told me that I hadn't had that big win yet to really get me going. But that's my savings account is the investment, the stock market. That's my savings account. I put all the money for my savings in my stock market accounts because if I need it, it's nothing to sell that stock or either.
And get it.
Yeah, even all my money that I do want to save, even if I don't necessarily buy a stock, it's sitting in my brokerage account because I got a debit card for my brokerage account if I needed that money. But at the same time, if Apple stock dropped tremendously, I can go buy crazy without trying to transfer it and it take 3 to 5 days.
Gotcha. And I'm similar in some of those ways too. I tell people putting your money in the savings account, you just sit it. Your money has to work. It has to work. And I'm the same way. I would start a business. My sister told me today, she was like, okay, so this is what you're going to do next tax season. You're not going to start a whole bunch of businesses doing tax season, right? Because I start whenever I think of something, I'm like, let me figure this out, right? Yeah. I'm the same way, very hands-on. Day trading wasn't for me either. And I'm a numbers person. I was like, no, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's
I was
tough.
definitely like, let's go start a business, right? Let's go buy some rental properties. You know what I'm saying? Let's go do that.
Rental properties. I ain't even hit no buttons today. There we go.
Listen, rental properties is my jam. Rental properties, businesses, my retirement and is in the stock market, right? Yep. My 401k, that's it, or my SCP since I'm a business owner now. But right now, my life is all about my businesses and rental properties.
And you said real estate. That's I forgot that part. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I love real estate. I love studying the market. I just love everything about it. I bought a house in New Mexico. I bought one in Ohio, and I bought one here. And I always tell people the budget definitely, she said 3. The budget helps you out, but me putting that, so I had $10,000 left to my name if you account my day, right? I put $8,000 in that house in Ohio in 2017, closing costs and just getting into it. After 3 years, I made 70.
Come on. I'll take that any day.
Me making that $8,000 investment brought me back a lot in a 3-year time span. I was going to keep that house and just rent it out, but pandemic, market is beautiful. My house sold in like 12 hours.
Yeah, houses, they sell fast.
And another thing
before I can put my offering.
And I didn't add this in when we said investments. Invest in yourself. That's the thing. People don't invest in themselves. I got a whole bookshelf of books. I'm always reading. I'm learning. Be intentional about what you're trying to learn. When I was trying to learn the stock market, I bought stock market books. When I was trying to learn real estate, I was every real estate podcast, phone book, talking to people who are actually successful. And be wary of people who are successful and they're only Instagram and social media successful. Ask for some receipts.
Like, let me shadow you for a day. That's what I did with my real estate investor. Let me shadow you. Let me see how you go to these houses, because I was getting into commercial. How do you get your commercial lease? How do you pick the property? How do you pick the land? I showed up. I pulled up on them. Like, they was in a whole nother state, and I got a flight, got a rental. I pulled up on them. So if they was on real estate, if they was on Instagram lying, they was about to get
you gonna find out. And that's the thing. Everything, and I have a master's in marketing. So shout out to all the marketing masters out there getting that bag. But y'all lying to these people. Y'all don't really have no check. Y'all make it look good. And y'all lying, y'all taking y'all false profits. Y'all out here telling they got all these houses that they don't own. They just got the camera looking good, you know. So be wary of that, everybody, especially now. And I meant to make a podcast about it for tax season. Be wary of that for the people who are trying to elevate themselves. Make sure you get some receipts. I got all the documents of when I started the budget in 2017 when I was negative 80,000. I got everything in there. I will show you the receipts and I'll walk you through it. And we can sit down and have a conversation and let you know that even though it feels like it's over, it ain't over. I used to pull up in my driveway and just be like, man, this is ugly, you know, but I knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel because I talked to people who gave me receipts that was in a similar situation. Definitely get them receipts, learn what's going on, and take the same energy you use to have fun and put that in getting some funds, and it's going to change the game for you.
Oh, the same energy you use to have fun, put it in the fun. Y'all go see that on my Instagram. I'm gonna give you credit, but y'all go see that on my Instagram probably sometime this week. So this is another our last question from the audience. It says, how do you find good investments?
Hold on. How do you find good investments? It depends on what you're investing in. If we want to talk real estate, I'm real big on location. You can't change where the dirt is at.
Yeah. Ooh. All these gems.
So when I bought that house in Ohio, perfect example. I know I wanted 3 beds, 2 baths. That was only my in the garage. I gotta have a garage. It's my thing, right? So they had a nice development that was closer to my job, but it was a full built development, HOA and everything. I went 10 minutes not even that far, but 10 minutes away, this was a development that they stopped building to start on that development that I just left. But the development was perfect. It was perfect. It wasn't any HOAs. Everybody that's been there has already been there. So there's no room for expansion, which is great because all the houses that are there. It's quiet. It's right by a senior citizen home. And they were talking about building a strip mall about 10 miles away, five miles away, 10 minutes away, which is great because now it has room to grow. If you go to a fully built development, it has no room to grow.
Yeah.
If you go to one that's on the come up, you have room to grow. Yep. And with that, they built an emergency room with a helicopter heliopad joint that my property value shot all the way up. I need to go back out there to see what they built. They started tearing out places and they were talking about building a strip mall because that's how far I lived out in the country, but it was only an extra 5 minutes. Location. But when you're looking for a good investment, I'm always revert back to this, and as cliche as it sounds, look in the mirror. Are you truly investing in yourself? Whatever field you're trying to get in, do you have a mentor in that field? That's very big on the mentor portion. I did not start the trucking game with a mentor. It cost me, not even the time. It cost me some money. Luckily, me and my business partner, we had a nice little cushion to take them punches. and with trucking, you can kind of make a lot back quick. But man, listen, I never wanted to quit on anything, but I wanted to quit because it was the mental taxing on my brain was like, I think I done stepped too far. Normally I win in everything I touch, but this one, and we're doing good now. We had to take that and learning lessons, but a mentor. Find somebody who's in that field already, who's truly winning, who can provide you with receipts. If you invest in yourself, your health, your mental, your spiritual, everything else is going to fall in place. If you're mentally not right where you need to be, or you just physically always tired, whatever the case may be, when it comes time for that real estate property, like Raven said, she flew out to him. What's up? Yeah, I'm here. Teach me.
Show me.
And to be able to do that, you have to invest in yourself. You have to have your budget right. You have to be able to capitalize. Actually tomorrow, if you're listening, we're going to go live with the loan officer from Florence, the millennial loan officer, because I talked about it on Home Ownership Volume 1. This was episode 5 of the Hustle Lounge podcast about when interest rates for homes was 2.5%. They 5.4 right now. That's the average.
Yeah.
That's the average. So I told 2.5%, you can get double the house for the same price you were going to pay. At 5%, now you have to downsize. But because I was invested into myself, because I didn't go crazy, because I didn't get caught up in the lights, I was ready to capitalize on that 2.5%. And that's the biggest investment. Can you after you do all your homework on what you want to do, are you able to capitalize? And that capitalization may take a year or two, but you have to be ready because you can't get ready. You cannot prepare for war when the war is on. You got to prepare for war in the time of peace.
Yes. Come on. And that's what he has said, y'all. If y'all have been here from the beginning, if you have not, I behoove you to go back and watch the whole thing. But that is one thing he constantly says. He is a very forward-thinking person. He's always thinking ahead. He's not just thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. He's light years and light years ahead. And that's going to always put you ahead of everything and everybody else.
You got to play offense. Like we're taught, and I hate this part of it. And that's why we got to get you on our platform also. But I hate that we're taught to play defense. We're taught to go to work, get your check, be happy with the check, 401k, go to vacation 2 weeks out of the year and beg for that. And then go to 65, get your money, and then die. Like, that's really what we taught. And anytime you do anything out of necessary, especially in our culture, if you're not rapping or playing sports, you're doing too much, or you're not, I don't live like a rapper, but we balling. We do what we want to do.
Listen, we got the receipts like the rappers.
We got the receipts, yo. And I think that's the thing is just breaking out of that mold and understanding that you're ultimately in control of your entire life. It depends on what you want to do with it. When I did pay off that debt, before I sold the house and was able to pay off the rest, I had like 100 pair of shoes. I sold probably like 90 pair of shoes. That brought me a quick $3,000 though. That quick $3,000 paid off something. Right.
There you go.
Yeah, something. I had tools because I used to work on stuff. But guess what? I'm in Ohio. I don't do nothing anymore. I'm selling these tools. I don't need that. I sold everything I could. I sold the dog. Yeah, he had to go because I was thinking his health might fail and I got to pay for that. So
listen, that's a whole bill. When my dog got sick, it was like $2,500. for him.
I already had paid $1,200 to save his life a couple years prior, so it did hurt to all my dog lovers. Don't take it personally, but yeah, he had to
right.
Like,
well, my bet was good enough to be like, no, he could still die, so don't pay it. That's literally what she told me.
You know,
she was like, I'm gonna be real with you. He could still die, so don't. I'm gonna feel bad taking your $2,500, and he could probably be dead in 2 hours. And I was like, okay, because
shout out to that vet.
It gets to your heart, because that was my Bentley was my baby. But
yeah,
she saved me $2,500 though.
Man, I love Major to death, man. The old lady went to basic training. It was just me and him, and I didn't realize how much she actually did for him, even though she don't like dogs, because I was always working. He had to go, and I was like, I thought about that $1,200 I spent that I didn't have, and I'm like, I can get about $800 for him. I love you, Major, if you're listening.
I love it.
Like you said, though, his ass would have went to the vet. Nah, bro, we're not going to the vet. We're just gonna go ahead and make sure you comfortably in this hole we gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Invest in yourself, though. If you take anything from this, invest in yourself. You are the most important wheel of anything. Once you invest in yourself and you got your brain right, everything else flows.
I love it. Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you at, where they can follow you, where they can book a consultation, where they can listen, all of the good stuff.
Yeah, so the Hustle Lounge podcast, that's our main outlet. Shout out to Chris, shout out to Colin, shout out to Zach. Zach's behind the scenes. He mostly records the videos for us and helps us out. We're trying to get him out there too, but we're on every platform for podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, the Hustle Lounge podcast. And we're also on YouTube now, so we are doing live recordings, or we're recording them and putting them on video. We drop every Wednesday at midnight. So for my people, my culture, Tuesday going into Wednesday, midnight, the new one drops. We will be late tomorrow. We're normally on time. We will be late tomorrow because we're going to actually film tomorrow's episode live on Facebook and YouTube Live. Our YouTube channel is Hustle, HUSTLE, space Smarter, SMARTER TV after that space. So we got a lot of good stuff up there. We started about 4 episodes ago. Bear with us. We normally keep it nice and clean and very informative. We had a little fun because we got together and we ain't seen each other in so long.
It was funny.
It was funny. Okay. Hey, y'all heard Raven. Raven's a super professional. Look, when I came to her platform, I put my collar shirt on. I sat up straight in the chair,
It was funny, y'all.
We have a good time together. So we're going to work back because we definitely want the gems that we list, we talk about, we don't want to miss due to cursing and just being, but we have a good time because we're still humans. And if you know me outside, I have a great time. So check us out there. YouTube, Hustle Smarter TV. Go run us up, subscribe, like, comment. This video will be on there soon. I'm gonna get it from Ray. We're gonna put it back on there. We're gonna put it on our podcast too for your audio listeners. Facebook is at Hustle Smarter, Hustle Space Smarter. Instagram, hustlesmarter.com, and then Graham Hustle is on the flyer. But yeah, follow us there. You'll follow us to the next sets and the next pages. But check us out. Leave us some comments. Consultations are all at, that's what I forgot. We just got the website because I was backwards. hustlesmarter.com, all one word, hustlesmarter.com. Book your consultations. We have an Airbnb course coming up on how to win with Airbnb coming up April 30th. It's a Zoom call. Tap in if you want to learn. The guy that's teaching the course, I got his receipts. We got his receipt. We even posted a reel with his receipts because we don't have any false prophets on our show.
I love it.
He's gonna break down the game for you guys. And I actually put that kid in the Air Force, and the Air Force didn't work out for him, but he took it and ran with. The dude's a beast. Do your homework. Check out that. I think I named it Airbnbs and Toro on the podcast outlet. That one's audio only. Check it out though, because the kid got a lot of game. And I say kid because he's like 23, 24. But he ain't no kid. So yeah, that's where we at. Hustlesmarter.com. If you go there, it'll link you into everything else we got going on.
I mean, I'm gonna drop the link when I go link it, but I already dropped the name for everything.
Don't forget, I know this. I'm gonna say this real quick. Don't forget, I know talking about your finances is a personal thing. Trust me. When I looked as good as I did on social media and I was 80,000 in debt, I did not. I used to go to that Dave Ramsey course with a hoodie on because I didn't want nobody to see me. I understand. And it's okay. I want to tell you that's okay. When you talk to us with your finances, most of the time it's me and Chris. I give my disclaimer before we start. We're not here to talk about you. We're not going to go on Facebook and say, oh, Raven looked like she make 100,000. She owe 400. I don't play any of those games. My ultimate goal is to help you win with money. There's nothing you're going to bring to the table that I haven't seen before. It's probably not even as bad as you think, because I've helped people who have been $200,000-$300,000 earners who were negative every month. So no case is too big or too small. I promise that's on everything I love. Nobody would know who you are or what you've done. If you post your testimonials, I always block out the name because that's just how I am. I know how important and how sensitive finances can be. So we're here for that.
Yes, that's amazing. You have made episode 1 historical.
You know I'm coming with it, baby.
This has been so great, so great. So thank you again, Jamar, for joining us on the Green Scene. The Green Scene is gonna go live every single, what's today, Tuesday? Every single Tuesday at 7:30. We're gonna have a guest every other week. So for some weeks you'll just have me and we'll talk it up, we'll chop it up, and then other weeks you'll have a guest. So next Tuesday you will have me, and then the following Tuesday we will have a guest. So again, the Green Scene, episode 1 with Jamar Graham of Hustle Smarter. Thank you all for joining, and good night.
Good night.
All right. Okay, so it says we're not live anymore.
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
Hold on, mine's still recording. Oh, we good. I had recorded on mine. I didn't even realize it, but go ahead.
Good. Thank you so much. This was amazing. This was awesome. We had like a really good audience turnout. I'm gonna go back and drop all your links as well so they'll know how to connect with you. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, appreciate you, man. I'm glad you had me. I'm glad everything worked out. I think it was pretty good.
And when I get I recorded this on Zoom, so once I download it, I'll probably have to send you a Dropbox link or something.
Yeah, the Google Drive or whatever. I'm learning that stuff too. But yeah.
Do you want the audio too? Because I'm going to put the audio in our podcast. Do you want just the audio file? And
if you send over the video, Anchor takes the video and turns it into audio now.
Oh, I ain't gotta have both. See, I gotta learn. I gotta go get me some books.
Man, listen, I just did it on trial and error. And once we started recording the video, and what we would do is edit the video. Like, we had like 10 minutes before we started.
Right.
If you cut that part out and save that file just like that, Anchor takes all the audio and just puts it right on there.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I ain't cut a podcast in a long time, ever since we've been doing that. Literally, we cut the video, and we got an editor now who does our videos that we send it to. She cuts them. After she cuts them, all I literally do is go to Anchor, type it in, pull it, and it'll say extracting audio, and that's it. The last 7 episodes, I haven't done any cutting. I just took it straight from video.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try that. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna
no problem.
Our podcast is gonna drop in like May, trying to get through tax season. But I'll upload it for you.
Busy for sure.
And let you have it. Yes.
Okay.
Well, have a good night. Thank you again.
Right. Appreciate you. Have a good one.